Hey, what is up YouTube? This is Powerhouse here with another one of my videos, and today we got another tier list for you. I decided this time, instead of doing a series that I haven't really covered on my channel, let's do something that is synonymous with my channel, I believe, and that is the whole Total War series. Now, I know I'm gonna get some flack for the choices that I pick. The thing with Total War is there's a lot of different camps and a lot of different fan bases who hold different games as their number one, understandably so, and I've gotten flack on some of my opinions on these games. So I know that every game, regardless of where I rank it, is going to have a passionate response. So I'm prepared for that, and I think we should go in order, even though the pictures are not in order, as they never are. But let's start out with the beginning, and that is Shogun Total War. I reviewed this one on my channel. It was basically the first Total War game, as I said, and it was a sign of things to come. But man, it definitely was rough. A lot of things changed since then. The campaign map was upgraded. Combat was definitely more of a simulation in later series, you know, with the newer engines and stuff. I see a lot of people, just looking at the community list, I see a lot of people put this at the F tier. And while I do understand why people would do that, I do think that there are some redeemable qualities. It's not a Total War that I would recommend people to go play, but I don't think it's like total crap either. So because of that, I'm going to put it on the D tier. I think that's an acceptable place for it. Just because, you know, it was a start, and like I said, it has like an arcadic feel to it. So it is a novelty to be playing, and it's a bit faster paced compared to some of the later Total Wars. So it's got some novelty. All right, the next one is Medieval Total War. I haven't played this one too much. They're looking at the faction list. There are some things that are done slightly better here than in Medieval 2 Total War, but let's be honest, Medieval 2 Total War trumps this game. It carries a lot of Shogun Total War isms, and while I do like the time period, it never really felt like that much of a step up. And honestly, this game is very hard to run on modern systems. It seems to have a lot of glitches and crashes and stuff. So for that, I'm honestly gonna put this one below Shogun Total War. I was gonna put them on the same, but I thought more about it. I'm gonna put this on the bottom. I just think it wasn't much of a step up from Shogun Total War, and it brought along a lot of issues with it. So we're gonna have to go there. Alright, the next one is the first Rome Total War. Now this one has a passionate fan base, you know. The first two, not so much, but this one, trust me, if I don't put this at S, I'm gonna get killed. But I think Rome Total War is showing its age. It has one of the best modding communities, especially compared to the more modern Total Wars. But man, just playing it and reviewing it last year, I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed the campaign. I thought the gameplay was pretty solid. Cavalry was cool to use. But honestly, I didn't like some of the ways the campaign was structured. There wasn't too many factions. A lot of the factions are unplayable unless you mod them, which is annoying. You know, factions like Spain are unplayable unless you mod them, unless you make them playable. So it has some weird things like that, like you need to edit it just to play a certain factions, which is weird. But I'm going to, and also too, the Senate can be very annoying, as the Pope can be pretty annoying in Medieval 2. I don't want to put this at S, looking at the other games that we have on the lineup. So I definitely want to put this high, though. I want to put this up here. Either A or B. It's kind of a hard choice for me. This is my opinion, but I'm gonna have to put it at the B tier. It's, like I said, still solid, but it's definitely showing its age. And running on modern systems does have issues, so I have to take everything into account. Now the next one, this is my, or at least one of my personal favorites, and that is Medieval 2 Total War. Now, when I first played this years ago, I really loved this game. I've gone back to it multiple times. I've played the expansions. I've put hundreds of hours into it, and I've overall had a good time with it. I still have yet to review the expansions, and I'm unsure if I want to or not. I'm thinking about it, because there are some cool campaigns, and I definitely do have stuff to say about it. But it's 4 campaigns, so that's a lot of, that's a lot of film. It's a lot of gameplay. But I feel like I've kind of reached my peak with this, just because, there are some things with combat-wise I don't like. The sieges, the sieges you constantly, they can really drag on. I mean, Total War has never really been that great when it comes to siege battles, but these are definitely showing its age. Like I said, I do enjoy this one, and I love some of the mechanics, especially the campaign mechanics, like the chivalry and dread mechanic. That's one of my favorite mechanics of all Total Wars. And each general and person in your family has so much personality, just from what they accomplish. And I really love the generals in this one. It's easy to really get attached to them. You know what? I put this ahead of Rome Total War. I know some people are going to disagree with me. But I'm gonna put this at the A tier. Like I said, the thing with Total War is every Total War game has a strength in some things, but they also have weaknesses in others. No Total War game is perfect. Just gonna say that off rip. But man, some can just sometimes the positives can really outweigh the cons, and other times it doesn't. So that's what makes this interesting. All right, so the next one is Empire Total War. And this one, I feel like they really dropped the ball. They got a little bit too ambitious, and I get it. They really wanted to, try something new. I mean, it was musket warfare, multiple theaters multiple theaters where you can be, settlements and stuff like that. Colonizing in the Americas. So there was a lot that they had here. There was a lot that Empire Total War was going for. And I think it was a lot. I think it was just too much at once. Like I said, new engine, new everything, and it was a lot. It was a lot to take in, and because of that, the AI suffered. The combat AI is awful. Honestly, battles are really the weakest point in this game. Thankfully, they've done gun battles far better in the later games. But this one, not so much. Although, like I said, I do appreciate the changes in provincial management, in trade. So there was a lot of things that Empire has done right that became standards later on in other games using the Warscape engine. So I have to respect it on certain respects. I don't think it's on the same level as Rome Total War, not close. I put it right below it. So I would give it a C tier. It's not a terrible game. It has its issues, but you have to respect it for what it was trying to do. Alright, the next is Total War Shogun 2. This is everyone's favorite. I think a lot of people are going to put this at the S tier. And I think it's in strong contention for the S tier. I mean, Shogun 2, Shogun starts with an S. And it would be a shameful display if it's anything less. We'll see as I talk about it though, where I'm gonna put this. And I may get killed. Who knows? I may have to commit seppuku if I do this. But who knows? Let's just talk about it though. I reviewed this on my channel, and it was definitely a lot of fun. But I think, and I've put over I think either over or close to 300 hours in this game. And I do really like the expansion packs too. I think we should include that as well. The Fall of the Samurai is awesome. Rise of the Samurai I enjoyed too. Honestly, I've really enjoyed Shogun 2. The only issue I have though is the unit diversity. Even with the DLC, there's not much diversity in the factions regarding their units. I mean, the Chosogabe have stronger bows, and the Shimazu have stronger katana samurai, but and some of the DLC units. But outside of the DLC units and those small little things, there's not much in terms of unit variety. However, I do enjoy what's out there, and I think for unit variety, they did as much as they can. So you know what? Just because I put so much into it, and even though I probably won't be going back to this anytime soon for the main campaign, maybe just for Fall of the Samurai or Rise of the Samurai, it is what it is. But I definitely do think it's on the S tier. The AI is also the best too because it can work well with the small map, so it hides the AI's limitations. Even though I don't like the realm divide, I think that's some BS, but I do think it deserves to be on the S tier. Alright, the next one is Rome 2, and looking at the community, a lot of people seem to put this at S tier, which is funny because at release, this would have been F tier by the way people were reacting to the situation and everything that's happened. Now, the one thing I do respect about Rome 2, about Creative Assembly and Rome 2, is they stuck with it. You know, it's a far better game now than it ever has been before, you know, with multiple DLCs, multiple patches and stuff. But that's also my problem too with Rome 2, is like the DLC campaigns I feel like were very lackluster. Nothing really new was thrown at us, like in terms of mechanics or anything like that. New scenarios and new time periods, but none of them were really that interesting, at least to me. You know, the Rise of the Republic could have been something, but it just became a slog of civil wars. I think it's good. They also, like I said, you know, went back and added the family tree. Like, my review is hella outdated of this game. Like, I look at my review and then the game nowadays, they don't compare. Like, the game, like I said, the game is so much better now. And I'm not going to put it at S tier because I don't think it's, like, amazing. I have played this game a good amount, but it's hard for me to finish campaigns. I finished campaigns in Shogun 2 for all three, for the main, Rise of the Samurai, and Fall of the Samurai. But for Rome 2, I have all the DLCs. I've only finished the main campaign once. And after starting like multiple times, I get really far and just get bored because it's really easy on easier difficulties. And multiplayer wise, it's fun though. But I feel like cavalry is a little weak here. That's kind of my issue. I feel like it's more about like heavy infantry and spears, and pikes are really OP. So it's kind of my issues with that, but I'll get more into that. But yeah, Rome 2, we'll put at A tier. Now, next one is an interesting title, and that's Total War Attila. You know, I feel bad for Attila because it came at a bad time. Rome, by the time Attila was announced, Rome 2 was still going through, was still having its issues. You know, it was still being fixed and patched up. And people just had a sour taste, you know, when it came to Rome 2's launch. Now, when Attila was released, you know, it didn't come with much fanfare. Now, most people don't hate this game. I feel like, you know, people don't really like hate Attila or anything. Some people appreciate it, while others kind of stray far away from it. I have never reviewed Attila, but I looked at the amount of time I put into Attila, and it's over 300, which is insane. I've completed all the DLC campaigns, and I've completed the main campaign multiple times at this point. But man, it's a brutal Total War. But I think to me it was such a refreshing experience to, you know, I love the tone of this game. I love the atmosphere. You know, some people don't like it because it's a little too depressing, but I love it. Like, I love the dark, you know, atmosphere. It really feels apocalyptic. Every battle feels like this can really hit the fan. It can get a little too frantic with cavalry being way too OP. But man, like, you just see the Huns coming down, man, it's like my heart is just racing. And I never really felt that way too much in Rome 2. Rome 2, I definitely had my battles. But I feel like Attila, that's like every battle. Like, I'm just like, we gotta win this. Like, this is a must win. This is, you know, it just, every battle felt so intense. And it was civic focused too. Like, you really couldn't expand too far. You really had to focus on civic technologies. It introduced religion. There's a lot going on in Attila. You know, it brought back the family tree, and the political system in this one is far better than Rome 2. Honestly, I really like Attila. But I definitely, after repeat playthroughs of the main campaign, I definitely see its flaws. So I'm going to put this at the A tier as well. I say it's on that level just because, like, I've put so much time in all these three games. So I gotta give respect, okay? I gotta give respect to my playtime. All right. So it seems like I actually forgot one. I forgot Napoleon, which is funny. I'm telling you, man, this is really like The fact that I forget Napoleon is really my feelings on the game. This I'm gonna get flack for. I've gotten flack on my freaking review for it. I get it, guys. They improved combat. I get it. I get it, okay? One thing, but you gotta understand, the scope was far smaller. The campaign experience is so freaking linear. I honestly don't care about this one. I don't want to get too into it. Check out my review. I've heard, like I said, I've heard all the criticisms. I get it. I just prefer, even though the combat is slightly better here, Empire Total War was just a bigger scope and it has more to offer. I come back to Empire Total War far more than I have with Napoleon. So I have to put it here just out of respect, okay? Let's do that. Alright, so I think I'm going to do the first Warhammer because that came after Attila. It was definitely an interesting diversion. I remember people were really divided. This really created a whole rift in the community, because then it became, okay, you know, is Total War going to go this fantasy route? Like, are they just going to forget about historical games? Or are we going to get historical games as well? You know, do they just want that Total Warhammer money? You know, what's going on here? So people were really put off by them shifting from a historical perspective to a fantasy one. I thought it was a good move personally, because I felt like after Attila, they really needed to freshen something up. And I get people want Medieval 3, same here, but I don't think it was right. I don't think the time was right for it. So for them to go to Warhammer and try something new was awesome. That said, this game, after playing Warhammer 2, Warhammer 2 beats Warhammer 1 in every single way. They're really, after Mortal Empires campaign was released for Warhammer 2, there is legit no reason to go back to Warhammer 1. Seriously, like, Warhammer 2 is so much better in so many ways. Not just for the Mortal Empires campaign, but I've said it in my review, just combat, spells, everything is just so much better in Warhammer 2 than 1. And Warhammer 2 is still being supported. So I'm gonna put this in, is it as good as Rome? I would say it's pretty good. I don't want to put it at C tier, because I definitely did enjoy it. I wish there's like a C plus tier. Could I get like a C plus tier? I'll put it at B tier. It was a solid game. I'll put it at B tier. Now, I'll go to Thrones of Britannia after. That I won't say too much. But Warhammer 2, yeah, it deserves to be in the S tier. It's so much better. Like, Warhammer, you know, I put a decent amount of time, like 40-50 hours, but Warhammer 2 is like at least or over 300 hours. And honestly, I don't see myself ever slowing down when it comes to Warhammer 2. It's just that freaking good. And trust me, I know a lot of people don't like the Warhammer series because they think it's too, you know, fast or frantic or fantasy based, but listen, it's not supposed to be historical. You have your historical games, which we'll get into, obviously. This is a fantasy thing. If you don't want to play Warhammer, that's fine. You know, that's your choice. There's still dozens of other historical titles for you to play within the series, and also historical titles that are coming out and are currently being supported, which we will get to. But there's just so much that they improved to Warhammer 1. I said it in my review, you know, spells. They had lizardmen, which are awesome, the high elves. I honestly find like a lot of the new world races to be far more interesting than the old world races in Warhammer 1. And it was also cool just replaying some of the old Warhammer 1 factions and seeing how they play in 2, which is pretty cool. Some of them have also gotten reworks, and I'm really excited for the Wood Elves expansion pack, because Durthu is a beast. I love Durthu, and I love the Wood Elves. They're my favorite faction in Warhammer, so I'm looking forward to that DLC. Alright, next is Thrones of Britannia, which I actually believe this one came after Warhammer 2, which is funny because as soon as it came, it freaking died. So we're going to put it here. I've reviewed this recently. It's not as bad as some people will make it out to be, but it definitely is forgettable. There's a lot of questionable design choices that I personally don't like. I feel like it borrows a lot from Attila without improving. The issues are really, like, the battles feel almost exactly identical to Attila with how overpowered cavalry is. So honestly, you should just go for like the Anglo-Saxons and just go for like a powerful cavalry faction. What they did to public order obviously didn't carry over. It wasn't a good system. There just wasn't there was just a lot of weird design choices. The fact that a lot of your settlements didn't have garrisons, so like they would be taken over by like 1-unit armies, and then you have to rush with your armies to get down, and unit upkeep, corruption, and it can really get annoying. But it tried some cool things. Like, I love the time period of Vikings coming to invade England at that time. It's a very interesting time period, so I respect them for it. Yeah, that's really all I want to say. Like I said, check my review and for a little bit more information. And last but not least is Total War 3 Kingdoms. This one I have yet to review. I do eventually want to review this one. Hopefully by the end of this year I can review this one. We got to get through the 50 Blades of Grey mandated Dark Souls 2 review, but we will get to this. Trust me, I will get to this. I don't want to get too in depth just because, like, you know, I want to get more into it later, but I'll place it here on the A tier, but it has strong potential to be on the S tier. Very strong potential to be there. The fact that this game even exists is crazy. I mean, I love the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series. I've played a ton of them. I own a lot of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms games. I've played a lot of Dynasty Warriors Empires, Dynasty Tactics, the Kessen series. I know Kessen 2 is the only one that really focuses on the Three Kingdoms, but my point being is, yeah, I'm really like enthralled with this time period. The different characters, the myth, the legend behind all of it. It's really awesome. And then also comparing it to what actually happened in history. What they did with Three Kingdoms was interesting because it was a nice blend of some of the elements found in Warhammer, but also many of the elements that we would expect from historical Total War. There was also improvements on diplomacy, which was great, and I find that the campaign flow is far better than the other historical Total Wars, or just the other Total Wars in general that get a little bit, you know, a little bit grindy and feel like a slog by the end of it for how powerful you get. So this is very it's very interesting, and they do a lot of things right. I want to go more in depth in it, like I said, one day, but this Three Kingdoms currently has potential to go to S, but I feel like it's still not everything has been released yet. The Notman update definitely pushes this close to the S, but I really want to see what else they have, what else they want to push out for it, so I can put it up on that S tier. But for now, we're going to put it on the A tier. So that's my tier list, and honestly, it's completely different from what the community says, for the most part. So I know I'm going to definitely get some flack, but hey, like I said, this is just my opinion. If you would like to debate me, feel free to do so. Just keep it civil and I'll respond. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully the like to dislike ratio isn't too bad. Because if it is, then I'll be hiding in my bunker and you won't see me for a while. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching as always. And this is Powerhouse signing off.